Bonjour, I wanted to show you something today. I have an order which I need to fulfill, which is for heather honey, pollen and apple chocolate tablets, which are all from local ingredients except for the chocolate. So what I wanted to show you is something that is normal for heather honey and how to deal with it, of course. Heather honey is a very special honey, very rare, very hard to find. I show you what it looks like. And this is it after starting to set. It makes little granules. Honey does set differently regarding of what it is made from. For example, rapeseed honey sets so quickly that beekeepers have to remove it from the hives as soon as possible, otherwise it will set in the hives at the bee's temperature, which is a constant heat temperature, which normally keeps most honey liquid for a long time. Heather honey, it comes, from what I hear from my friend who's a beekeeper, comes and is a gelatinous honey, which is difficult to extract because it doesn't run out with the spinning process or whatever way they let the honey run. It just stays in the alveoli of the beeswax. So it has to be pressed, which is why usually heather honey has little bubbles of air in it. This one, we can see some bubbles. Oh, don't run away. Can you see any bubbles there? Well, even if you can't, I can see them. But to deal with the heather honey, what I'm doing is I'm going to put it in this recipient and keep stirring it. This recipient has warm water. We don't want it boiling because it would damage the honey and destroy the enzymes, which are what is so precious about honey in general and heather honey particularly, with all its medicinal properties, which, don't ask me, I don't know what they are, but with the flavor of this honey, I guess we only have to look up heather and how it is used as, what do you call it, herbal medicine, and see what it's good for. And I guess the honey will have those properties, but emphasized because it's so concentrated. So there I am for my orders, going to make this heather honey as runny as possible. I don't know if I will manage to remove all or most of the granules, the set granules. I will do my best because from what I hear, most people seem to prefer generally honey to be a runny product and not a product that sets. They don't want it if it's set, they want the runny whatever consistency. But to be fair, I am the one who is the boss here. And the customers haven't told me they would dislike the chocolate tablets if the honey was set. So why do I melt it? I'm not sure. I think it's because I wanted to make a video to show you what it looks like. And I have my other ingredients, the local dehydrated apples, and to show you, they look like this. They're snappy and dry. I love those apples, they smell delicious. They're so much nicer than bought apples, dehydrated apples that you can buy normally. They are very rubbery and soft, and they're treated with sulfur dioxide, when mine are not treated. They're natural, and because of the lack of moisture, they do not require to grow any molds. They don't invite any molds. That's just flown off the plate then onto the worktop. Very nice. So we have the heather honey. It's getting a bit runnier. So by melting it a bit, what I'm doing is I'm making easier for myself. I'm making it easier to work with it later, because it is a bit too thick in this state. And I can't help but feel a lot of gratitude for the bees. Thank you, the bees. Thank you for this beautiful product. So what I have now is I have melted chocolate, which is setting. So I'll put it back on here to melt the sides of the dish, which have set, and also to carry on melting the callets. The callets are what normally is called, well, people who don't know about chocolate don't know the language that's used in the industry, so they call those things buttons, or they call them drops, which they are. The real term is callets, which I'm very proud of using because it's a proper word. So chocolate drop is also a proper word. Chocolate button is a little bit like a word that gets me my ego a little bit judgmental. It's not a button, is it? You don't sew it on clothes. It's a drop. It's not a button. Never mind, just ignore my need for using the right language, because in other places I will use the wrong word, so I'll get judged in my turn. So please feel free to call it buttons as much as you like. In fact, I'll call it buttons too. Look, I'm melting my buttons. There we are. No to criticism and judgment of words. And callets, nobody understands because they don't know the word. They say, what? Callets? And I have to say, yes, the chocolate drops. Things, you know, that we work with. Some of us chocolatiers work with that. So now we have melted chocolate. Melted enough, is it? Yes, I'll stop it. And carry on melting it. I'll come and show you. You've seen that before because I've already done videos of this. There we are. So what we have here, we have chocolate with some unmelted bits, unmelted button callets. There we are. So we want those to disappear. What is the temperature? The temperature is 33.9 according to this. Now we don't know if this is accurate, but the battery being full, it's probably close enough. This one is a Bosch, so I'm not working for them, I don't get discounts. It's just to say that I used to buy cheap ones, which cost me about 10-15 pounds at a time, and they used to stop giving me the right temperature after a few months of use. So I decided to invest in something that cost a lot more money, but is more reliable on the long term. So at 33.9, we're at a temperature with the chocolate which is too hot. We are at a point where the chocolate is not tempered. But because everything is not melted, we have to be patient and keep stirring. I had a customer earlier, he came and he said, "Have you got my chocolate?" I said, "No." "What chocolate?" "I don't do chocolate here." He said, "The nut chocolate." He knew I was teasing him. I said, "No, I've not had time to make your nut chocolate. I'm really sorry. I have been having a break after Easter, and I had not told you when I would make the nut chocolate by either." I had to say that because he keeps asking me for it, and I haven't got time to do it because I've got so many other things to do, and I've not officially started to make the nut chocolate. Officially, as in it's not one of my stocks that I keep on the website or that I take to the market regularly. It should be, but I prefer to do more interesting flavors, as you can tell with the honey, pollen and apple. Yes, so he came and he was disappointed, but he laughed a bit, so I probably did all right. He bought something else. He bought fruit and nut, and he bought ginger, which his wife is not fond of, but he likes, so he decided to treat himself. It's nice to get to know customers and what they like. I wish I had the psychic gifts of the lady in chocolat, but you know, I'll tell you what you like just by looking at you and into your heart and soul, but I'm not there yet with the enlightenment. So I just have for the moment just to do chocolate and hope that one or two persons will buy it and tell their friends, and they do sometimes, if I'm lucky, which I am regularly. Well, it's not about luck, it's about making a product with ingredients that are good quality. To me, this is important in a business. I'd rather not make as much money and sell a really good product. And I know it's not the capitalist way, which is make as much product as you can using the cheapest ingredients as possible and making as much profit as possible. But I'm not really interested in that sort of thing. It's a point of view, isn't it? So where are we with the tempering? We still have little lumps, as you can see from the flow. You can't see with the cupboard behind, can you? I should have a blank screen behind me. See, you can see little lumps of chocolates, not quite melted. There's a lump. Did you see that? This is a good way to temper chocolate, to let it run like that. But if it's very hot, it will take you a long time. So it's easier to put it in a basin of clean water, making sure you only get water to there, because as you move, you don't want water to go in there, as it will spoil your chocolate. But in this case, as we are at a low temperature now, the temperature which has gone down to 31. Now this would be tempering temperature normally, but I'm going to look again, because normally the tempering means that you must take your chocolate down to 27, 26, 28 degrees and then warm it up again to realign the fat crystals. But this morning, as there are still some unmelted bits of chocolate, this will act as a seeding method, or the tempering using cold chocolate, and the crystals will realign themselves by mimicking those that are a little bit unmelted. But I have to use it when it is all melted, as I have done it very often. Left a few drops of unmelted chocolate like this tiddly one here. And so though it will be fine, it's all good tempered. And once I pour it in the mold, so what I get is a very white, well, not very white, it's white at some spectrum of white chocolate. It's, I think they call it bloom, but I'm not sure. I think bloom is when it heats up and then sets, and then the blooming happens. In this case, it's too cold, the tempering is not right. So it goes white because the crystals are aligned in a white way. Now it's starting to set on the side, so I'm going to put it back on the pan a little bit to warm it up. And carry on melting those few crystals. Now while we're here, we don't want water on the worktop, so we will give it a wipe. The honey is doing all right. But I think the water underneath rather, is it's a bit like body temperature, so it's not going to do very much melting. So what we will do is we will warm this water now. Now the chocolate is warm enough. It only requires a few seconds to warm up. So if I change the water for warmer water, then carry on. Oh, don't do it this side. You don't see what's happening there, but I was going to pour this into the dish, which is very close to the other dish of chocolate. No, no, do it away from the chocolate. Any water work away from chocolate. So we are over here. Not too much. Just right, just right. Just right. It's floating, which means there's too much water and it's not touching the bottom, which means if I try to stir it, I'd probably get water over the worktop, but we'll leave it for now. We'll concentrate on the chocolate because the first phase of making those delicious heather, honey and apple bars is to get the molds. We want some shells in the molds. We are at 31 degrees now, and I am happy that except for the odd large lump of chocolate, which I will glue to the side of the dish, so to make sure it doesn't get taken when I take a ladle full of chocolate, most of it is mostly melted. But because I'm talking, I'll put it back on the heat just a little bit to give it another degree of warmth. So while I get the molds ready or out, the chocolate doesn't go too cold. I'd say that's enough. Let's check. 31.4, 0.5, 0.7. Yes, that's enough. So we have our implements. 1, and 2. We have our molds. 1 and 2. Actually, I'll do 1 in a clear mold, so you can see what happens with the setting of the chocolate. I'm looking for a suitable mold. very thin one, is that? Yes, that one will do. Yes, it's still a little bit cold, I think. I'll give it a bit more. There's still, despite me trying to appear like I know what I'm talking about, there are still too many unmelted bits. I should have done one with unmelted bits, in fact, to show you what happens. It's very interesting, tempering chocolate. As I've only got a small amount, I'm not going to bother using the marble plaque. Hold on, that's one of the thin ones, that's not a fat one. I need one with a lot of... that's the one. I need one that's thick, because the order of the bars are 120, 130, and often these honey bars are very light, because the apple, dehydrated apple, is very light. It doesn't add any weight. So I have to cram more in to make sure they're heavy enough. So we've got the chocolate. We're going to make a shell. To make a shell, all it takes is tempered chocolate. Fill the molds. Tap the molds if you don't want any bubbles at the bottom. I don't bother doing that most of the time. We should do, but because it's by weight, does it matter if there's bubbles? I shouldn't be telling you all my secrets, should I? It's too late now, I've done it. So this is the molds, and this will set in a very short time. Clean the implement. It's not as important for those chocolates as for others. When making molds for small chocolates, it's more important. Next one, we blend it again. Check the temperature maybe. 30. It's a little bit cold, but it's sort of alright, 30. It's still tempered temperature, but I'll give it a little bit. Second. I didn't check the temperature to show you what it is or tell you what it is. Shall I tell you what it is or not bother? It says it's 30, that it's lower than what it was before I put it over the pan of hot water. So I doubt it is accurate. but it's hotter, so it suits me. I'll show you in a minute the result of the other one, which was poured in at 30, wasn't it 31 or something, which was a nice temperature. So we have the first, okay, before doing that I'll show you. The first one is set. Oh, I'm finding naughty corners. There's several mistakes on this mold. I'll show you. We've got a little mistake here. Mistake as in, it should be alright because it's honey. But I'll have to be careful when I put the honey not to put it right up to the edge, because unless I feel it, up to the edge, this will just stick to the mold. And we've got here, something touched it when it was setting, and we've got tiny holes. So these are imperative to be filled, more important than the one to the side, because normally I don't put honey right up to the sides, only because when I pour chocolate over it, if it's right up to the sides, the honey might, under the weight of the chocolate, try to climb up, and then it will make holes and then start separating and coming out. So it's a bit of a pain in the neck, quite. So I will just fill that in and fill another corner there that's lacking a bit of chocolate, but again it doesn't matter too much for the corners, as I just explained. So there we are, that's good, that's all done now, all repaired. What we have on this side, tempering is about the same, that's nearly set. If I put my finger on it, I'll find that it's not entirely so, but just. Now this is setting again. That's working with small quantities of chocolate is quite a pain in the neck, like many things are a pain in the neck and a blessing at the same time. Only because it gets cold very quickly and I have to keep doing this. But at this time I'm going to be making the bars, so I don't really need it tempered. So what I'll do is I'll leave it on the warm water now till I need to use it again. In fact, shall I or shall I not? I'm wondering whether to make a few more. I will. I need to make some backstock. Very much. But I'm out. I'm out of that honey bar. I'm out of the caramel in dark and in milk. And I do need to make some nut chocolate for my very good, loving customer. I say loving, he's very encouraging. He's full of praise. He says the chocolate is much loved by all his friends, and he does buy a lot for his friends. He's very generous person with his friends. Now that says 33, 32.7, 32.5, 32.5, 32. So it's on a little bit on the hot side, but it does say on the bag of my organic chocolate there that it can go up to 32 and a half, I think, for tempering. I've always done it at less than 32, but mostly. Okay, so we'll do a couple more. I've not done the 3 on that one because I discovered too late there are watermarks, so I didn't fill this side. So just check them out for watermarks. Not bad, just a little one there in the corner. Now it's perfect. Isn't this exciting? Watching a chocolatière in her kitchen, n'est-ce pas? Et si je continuais en français? Pour ceux d'entre vous qui parlent français, ça sera facile. Je regarde mes deux autres plaques là. C'est joli, ça va? C'est très bien. I won't carry on in French just because and I feel awkward that I'm keeping some of you in the unknown. But maybe it's not a problem. I'll do another video in French sometime. Now I'm going to show you something which I've never seen before. Do you see what I see? Where are we? It's light. Haha, here. You see? There and there. These are microscopic holes from bubbles that I didn't burst because I didn't tap it, and this sort of thing which I've never ever seen before. I've never noticed this. It is possible with something like honey or any runny ganache that it would find its way through the tablet, pierce through the thin skin that is behind this and start coming out. So we don't want that, do we? We don't want to start having leaky tablets. Otherwise they have to be sold as mascagné. So I will just add some more chocolate onto those holes. How exciting! Oh, I'm discovering something new every day. And here, you see there is a slight difference in the shine. This one, which was a bit hotter, is actually shinier than the one which I said was at good temperature earlier at 31. So the temperature of chocolate does change the appearance. Next, what have we got over here? Honey, that seems very happy. Happy as in it's melting nicely and dancing on the water while I had my back turned, dancing with the dish. So that's perfect now. What I'm going to do is check the temperature of the honey. We don't want it to be hotter than the chocolate tempering. Oh, this says 31, 31, 30. So it's melted consistency, temperature. So I'll work the honey a little bit to cool it down. I could put it in cold water, but do I want to? No. I'll just spend a bit more time agitating it and waffling to you, the camera, to you, the unknown viewer, whom I don't know who you are. You are welcome to comment. Please subscribe 2, 3, 4 times a day with all your accounts so we can reach 123,567 followers in the next year. Yes, hello. Nice to meet you. And you, nice to meet you, nice to meet you. Lovely to see you. Yes, lovely. Oh, this is interesting. It's creating bubbles. Oh, lovely. I'm crushing the honey granules now. And as a result, the honey is a bit whiter, which is caused by the tiny bubbles, which give it the impression that it's whiter than what it was. So what I could do now, do I want to do that? Let's have a look at the temperature. Now that says 29.9. It's going down very nicely. I could just go outside or go into cold water. I could do, shall I? Yeah, go on. Go on, because we haven't got all day to waste. I'm going over there now. Bye bye. I forgot my temperature reader, didn't I? 28.5. Still too high. $27.9. We're getting there. 27.6. Excellent. $26.7, nearly there. I'm back. Did you miss me? No? Oh, that's a shame. I did. I know you missed me, really. We're ready. Are you ready for the excitement? We've got the honey, we've got our shells. Very carefully, because we don't want to get it on the edges. We take our flat spatula, which is not very useful, to carry honey from the honey pot to the chocolate mold bar mold thing, and we're going to spread it along the top of it. So because this is not practical but it's very good for spreading, we will take a spoon. A spoon, much more useful to carry something runny or liquid into a mold. Much better than a flat spatula. I bet you didn't know that. I didn't know it till I told you. I was going to struggle and do it with my spatula. Seriously. Now we are going to spread the honey. Because it's very runny now, far away from the edges. Normally I would do it with a pouch, which is easier, but because it's so much washing and cleaning afterwards and I'm only doing a few, I will do it just with a spoon. Oh, now I got it on the edge. Oh, I'm going to have to wipe that. When I said the spatula was useful to spread, actually I'm not using it now. It's quite happy in the dish. It said it didn't want to work, that it was upset not to be chosen as a honey carrying device. So as a result, it's just there, not doing anything. I'll show you in a minute, so you can see from here, can't you? You can see. I'll do this one. Oh no, I got it on the edge again. The edge, not the hedge. Please, Alexandra, watch your English accent. We don't want to offend anyone who thinks I'm talking about hedges when I'm actually talking about edges, do we? In this day and age, we have to be careful not to offend anyone. I might well sue myself for offending myself on video next. I bet you I'll win. I'll get compensation for having insulted myself. Never mind. Oh, this one is a bit close to the edge. Seriously. Am I happy with that? So much easier with a pouch. We don't get so many on the edge with a pouch. Voila. We're happy with that. We've got our honey. Which is the first step. Before we go any further, I will use some of this paper which is made from cane, recycled cane. And as far as I know, it hasn't got formaldehyde in it. I did ask the manufacturer, as I would not want to use kitchen paper that has toxic chemicals in it next to the food. So I'll wipe off what I have put on the edge, so there's no leaking. And there is some somewhere else. Where is it? There's a little bit here, a little drop, and a little drop here. When I say formaldehyde, there's more than that they put on kitchen roll. There's more chemicals. I don't know what they are. And I'm not sure I want to know. I've got the blue one, but that's for spills because that's possibly a bit toxic. So that's just to for heavy jobs, like when I finish with the chocolate, I'll wipe the bowl clean, get the chocolate out, and finish taking some of the chocolate out with that blue roll. As that's just going straight in the bin and nobody's eating off that afterwards. In this work, I have done my best and I'll do my best to avoid contamination with chemicals and harmful substances, which is what we're all supposed to do, of course, in a food business, but we all use a bit of plastic and that's not brilliant. My molds are plastic. I can't do anything else but use plastic. So we have to compromise, but in the case of kitchen roll, there's an alternative. And it doesn't have to be harmful. I also don't use recycled paper for the reason that they also recycle till receipt in that paper. And from what I hear, till receipts, because they work by heat, there is a product on them that is, what do you call it? It's a hormone disrupting chemical. So if we have it with the paper that we touch and use it for food, recycled paper is not brilliant. I've got some recycled paper for my packaging, which I am touching. Look, we all have to live dangerously, but I just do my best. Anyways, that's enough for the rambling and preaching about what a careful business person I am with my chocolate. So we're there. You're not here to hear the rambling, but you can just skip. Okay, skip to now. Now, I'm looking for the pollen in my ingredient cupboard. There we are. There is a pollen. This is local pollen. And I will sprinkle some on the honey. Not very much. Pollen is a very strong flavor. And it's full of health benefits. I have heard, but because I haven't got asthma anymore, I don't know if it is helpful, that if you take pollen and you leave it on your window and you take a teaspoon of it every day, at the time where you get asthma from the pollen in the air, like at this time when it's spring and you've got the rapeseed out in the fields and all the flowers in bloom, if it affects you, it's supposed to help very much for the body to understand what to do with the affliction and not affect you so much. So this is the pollen. Voila. And now the apples. They need breaking up. Because if they are in making too many things like that, like whatever that's called, like if they're not straight, it will be harder to get the chocolate on top of them, because there will be lots of gaps, and we don't really want lots of gaps. We want the least air possible left in those bars. Air means activity. So in the case of honey, it is already active because it's a natural product, so it will contain enzymes that could ferment, but hopefully they will not. It's apparently really easy to make mead out of heather honey because it's got a humidity which is slightly higher than ordinary honey. So we don't want the honey to ferment. The least air we leave, the least it should ferment, but I don't know enough about fermentation of honey to know whether it can be anaerobic or aerobic. By aerobic, I mean not the exercise classes, I mean oxygenation with the air, or action that happens with the presence of air or oxygen. I'm sure you wanted to know all this. If you are still watching, at now 53 minutes in, I will give you a honorary medal of a nightness, because you are absolutely amazing to be watching this all the way up to this point. And I say, well done. And I could say, haven't you got anything better to do? But that would be a bit judgmental, both on me and on you. My videos are so interesting. I expect you and anybody else would love to see them all the way to the end. Wouldn't you? Yes, of course you would. You see how long it takes to make a few bars, don't you? That's why this cannot really be done on the cheap. That's why my chocolate tablets are at the price they are at. Which is not Tesco's prices. This one is weird. It looks like I don't know if I can show you. It's like the lump of honey has made a shape, and then there's pollen that's stuck all around the edges. It's very pretty, that one. I don't want to cover it, it's so pretty. So the honey is from Preston. Well, Preston, it's New Radnor or Old Radnor. No, Old Radnor. Is it? Old Radnor, at the top of there on the hill, there are some heather fields. And my honey collector friend, he has authorization to put his bees on there. So that's where the honey comes from. That's why it's so special. It's a great wild place with nobody around, no pollutants, or very few except those that come from the rain. We won't expand on that because we are not here to make you or I start having negative thoughts about anything we cannot do too much about at this time, except keep our faith, keep our mental high, and keep thinking that everything is going to be for the better. Everything is for the better. And we will all be good in the end. We will all be well. And whatever happens on the other side, when we pass, and I can wait for that, but when it comes, it will be interesting, that there are very few regrets in this life. In my case, I would have regrets if I did not express myself, which is why these videos are done a little bit as well, so I can learn about myself, learn about what I come across like, and learn to change it if I feel I want to change anything of my behavior on camera. And hopefully that will also repercute into normal life. Now these slabs or tablets, as I call them, look beautiful. They look perfect. There we are. And now they are going to be covered with tempered chocolate. So we have our chocolate, which is now too hot. Very way too hot. Just looking at it. Oh yes, it's very hot. Do I bother checking? I'd say it's about 43. Let's see how far out I am. Oh, I'm not lying. Look, 40. Oh, where's you gone, the bloody thing? 43.6. It was just a lucky guess. Or should I say it's my expertise for doing it for 10 years. I'm such a pro now. Not a pronoun, a pro now. Aren't I? Yes. Lovely. No, all this is said tongue-in-cheek. Please do not take me seriously. Thank you very much. So you can imagine what it takes now. You can make your own if you want at home. You can sell them for, what's that big shop called in London? Harrods or Fortnum and Mason. Sell them the bars. They'll want you to make them for £2 each. So it's up to you if you want them for £2 each. Like, do you want to slave in your kitchen for the joy of being in such a renowned establishment? Personally, I'd say no. Life is too short. And who wants to be part of the capitalist business, really? I know I am. I can't help it because I am in that system, but I don't have to behave like it. It's been so lovely having a review, and two good reviews. It was, well, two and a half. It was lovely, so nice to feel appreciated. But I used to think I wanted to be in Fortnum and Selfridges and places like that with my chocolate, but no, I don't. I'm just happy as I am. I've got a life. I don't have to worry too much about tomorrow. And yes, I don't earn as much, and I'm not as well known, and I've got less chances of being the chocolate being discovered by someone I would value the impact of. Say there's some celebrity somewhere and they love the chocolate. I mean, that would be great celebrity, great publicity. But do I really need it? Probably not. I'm happy as I am. Really. No, I am. Of course, it would be nice to be a millionaire, but it might come. Who knows what the future brings? Only because if I was a millionaire, I would do chocolate when I want to do it. But I do anyway. When I don't want to work, I don't work. So I am a millionaire. Now let's have a look at the temperature, even though it's over an hour. Let's rush and speak faster now. By speaking faster, the chocolate will no doubt cool down much quicker. It's 38.6. Look, you know what? I'll do you a favor. I'll go and cool it down. And I'll say bye-bye now. Bye chaps. Bye chaplets. Chapettes or chaplets? I can't remember now. Bye-bye and thank you for watching. Merci beaucoup d'avoir regardé ma vidéo de chocolat. Et puis voilà. Et puis bonne journée. And à bientôt. Au revoir. Now can I turn that off with my elbow?